Today, we're diving deep into Word to uncover the top 10 mysterious beings in the Bible. These are figures shrouded in wonder and intrigue, leaving scholars and believers alike pondering their true nature and significance. Number 1. Ophanim. Ophanim are mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 15 to 21, which reads, "As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. Their rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around." Ophanim are also mentioned in a similar fashion in Ezekiel, chapter 10, verse 9 to 13, which reads, "And then I saw 4 wheels beside the cherubim, one beside each cherub. The wheels radiating were sparkling like diamonds in the sun. All 4 wheels looked alike, each like a wheel within a wheel. When they moved, they went in any of the 4 directions, but in a perfectly straight line. Where the cherubim went, the wheels went straight ahead. The cherubim were full of eyes in their backs, hands, and wings. The wheels likewise were full of eyes. I heard the wheels called wheels within wheels." The depicted passages describe God's throne as being mounted on wheels, known as Ophanim, and maneuvered by 4 angels. These wheels are intricately designed as wheels within wheels, arranged at intersecting angles. This unique design allows the throne the capability of moving effortlessly in any direction, eliminating the need for turning. The angels responsible for guiding the throne, identified as cherubim, each possess 4 faces oriented in different directions, granting them the same multi-directional mobility without the necessity of rotation. While this imagery is vivid, it's important to interpret it as metaphorical, especially given the symbolic nature of apocalyptic literature. The description paints a picture of a throne on wheels, capable of omnidirectional movement and directed by cherubim. However, Ezekiel's portrayal is not to be taken as a literal representation of God's throne. Since God is a spirit and possesses omnipotence, he does not require a physically constructed throne for movement. The essence of these visions with the Ophanim in Ezekiel is to depict God's dominion as all-encompassing and capable of responding instantly to any situation, anywhere. These visionary depictions serve as allegorical expressions of God's supreme authority and omnipresence. The inclusion of numerous eyes on both the wheels and the angels serves to underscore the concept of God's all-seeing nature. The Ophanim, or wheels described in Ezekiel, have captured the imagination of many, especially among Jewish apocalyptic writers who have developed them into a distinct concept. These wheels came to be recognized as a specific type of angelic being, known as Ophanim, alternatively spelled Ophanim, alongside other angelic beings like Seraphim and Cherubim mentioned in the scriptures. The influence of the pseudepigraphal Book of Enoch has been instrumental in promoting the notion of Ophanim as angelic entities. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, there is a reference to thrones that some interpret as a kind of spiritual being. The verse, which attributes all creation to Christ, both visible and invisible, including thrones, dominions, rulers, or authorities, has led some to associate these thrones with the Ophanim, considered to be angels serving at God's throne. However, this interpretation of Colossians chapter 1, verse 16 is not without its complications. Firstly, it's not definitively clear that the verse refers to specific spiritual entities. A more straightforward interpretation might be that it refers to various forms of authority, both human and otherwise, under Christ's eventual dominion. Secondly, while not explicitly stated, the thrones in this context could be a figurative representation of entities in opposition to Christ's sovereignty. in contrast to the Ophanim, which, if they are to be understood as angelic beings, would represent entities already in allegiance to him. This leads to a fundamental issue regarding the classification of the Ophanim as a distinct group of angels. A more simplistic and perhaps more accurate interpretation is to view the Ophanim simply as the wheels seen in Ezekiel's vision, symbolizing the all-encompassing authority and omnipotence of God. They are not to be taken as literal wheels on a physical throne, nor as angelic beings guarding the throne, but rather as symbolic elements in a vision that emphasizes God's supreme rule in every place and direction. Number 2. 24 Elders. Revelation chapter 4 verse 4 introduces 24 other thrones surrounding God's throne, with 24 elders seated on them. These elders are dressed in white and wear golden crowns. While the book of Revelation does not explicitly define who these elders are, they are commonly interpreted as symbolic of the church. This interpretation is strengthened by the notion that they are unlikely to be angels, as their seated position on thrones suggests a role in reigning alongside Christ, a concept frequently associated with the church in scriptural passages. For example, Revelation chapter 2 verse 26 to 27, chapter 5 verse 10, chapter 20 verse 4, Matthew chapter 19 verse 28, and Luke chapter 22 verse 30. The term elders used in the Greek text typically refers to human men, specifically those of maturity, suitable for leadership within the church. This designation would be inappropriate for angels, who are not subject to aging. Additionally, the attire of the elders, white garments, is more commonly linked with believers, representing the righteousness bestowed upon them through salvation, as indicated in several passages, like Revelation chapter 3 verse 5 and 18, and chapter 19 verse 8. The golden crowns worn by the elders also point towards their human identity. In Scripture, crowns are associated with victory and reward, promised to believers, but not to angels. These crowns symbolize the triumph of those who have overcome, as Christ promised, in Revelation chapter 2 verse 10, 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 8, and James chapter 1 verse 12. Further evidence supporting the view that these elders symbolize the church is found in Revelation chapter 5, where they hold golden bowls of incense, representing the prayers of God's people, and sing a new song of redemption. Their song reflects Christ's sacrificial act, redeeming people from all nations, making them a kingdom of priests to serve God, and granting them authority to reign on earth, found in Revelation chapter 5 verse 8 to 10. While some suggest these elders represent Israel at the time of John's vision, Israel had not yet collectively experienced redemption. Similarly, they cannot symbolize tribulation saints, as not all had been converted at that point. The most plausible interpretation is that the elders represent the church that has been raptured, celebrating redemption, wearing crowns of victory, and residing in the place prepared by their Redeemer, as described in John chapter 14 verse 1 to 4. Number 3. Cherubim. Cherubim, or cherubs, are angelic beings associated with the worship and glorification of God. Their first mention in the Bible occurs in Genesis chapter 3 verse 24, where God places them east of the Garden of Eden, along with a flaming, rotating sword to prevent access to the tree of life. Genesis chapter 3 verse 24 reads, "After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life." Additionally, it's indicated in Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 12 to 15 that Satan was originally a cherub before his fall. The Ark of the Covenant and the Temple, along with their articles, contained many representations of cherubim. The book of Ezekiel, in chapters 1 and 10, gives a detailed description of entities referred to as 4 living creatures, in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 5, which are identified as cherubim in Ezekiel chapter 10. These beings are described as having 4 faces, those of a human, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, found in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 10, chapter 10 verse 14, and they possess 4 wings. The cherubim's form is likened to that of a human in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 5, with 2 of their wings used for flying and the other 2 for covering their bodies, as detailed in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 6, 11, and 23. Additionally, they appear to have hands like a human's under their wings, found in Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 8, chapter 10 verse 7, 8, and 21. Revelation chapter 4 verse 6 to 9 also seems to depict cherubim. These beings play a crucial role in exalting God's sanctity and power, consistently reflecting His majesty and glory, and symbolizing His continual presence among His people. Beyond their praise of God, cherubim serve as a tangible representation of God's magnificence and enduring presence with His followers. Number 4. Behemoth. In Job chapter 40 verse 15 to 24, the behemoth is described as a massive and powerful animal, emphasizing the contrast with human frailty and limitation. This term has evolved in modern usage to refer to anything extremely large or powerful. The depiction of the behemoth in Job chapter 40 suggests it was a formidable, fearless creature, familiar to Job. Though its exact species remains uncertain, its characteristics include being herbivorous, as indicated in Job chapter 40 verse 15, living near water, found in verses 21 to 23, and possessing the strength to remain unfazed in turbulent, flooded rivers, in verse 23. It is described as immensely strong and muscular in verses 16 and 18, with the text noting it as first among the works of God, in verse 19. A being only its creator could overcome. Notably, it has a tail likened to a cedar tree, described in verse 17, and capturing it is deemed impossible, found in verse 24. There are various interpretations of the behemoth's identity, ranging from a hippopotamus, rhinoceros, or elephant. However, the description of its large tail doesn't align with the smaller tails of these animals. Another hypothesis is that the behemoth could be a type of dinosaur, like a Diplodocus or Apatosaurus, which aligns with the characteristics described in Job chapter 40 verse 17. According to the Bible, animals, including the behemoth, were created alongside humans, found in Genesis chapter 1 verse 24 to 27 and Job chapter 40 verse 15. The timeline of dinosaurs' extinction is unclear, and it is considered possible within the scriptural context that some could have still existed during Job's era, which falls between the events of Genesis chapter 11, Tower of Babel, and Genesis chapter 12, Call of Abraham. As Job challenges God regarding his suffering, God responds directly in Job chapter 38 verse 1, turning the question towards Job himself. Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me, stated in Job chapter 38 verse 3. In illustrating his point, God references the behemoth and Leviathan, 2 mighty creatures that dwarf human might and pride. These creatures, powerful and awe-inspiring, serve as a reminder of human humility in the face of divine creation. The behemoth and Leviathan, untamed and majestic, underscore the message that God, their creator, deserves reverence, awe, and worship. This theme is encapsulated in God's challenge to Job. Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Found in Job chapter 40 verse 2, emphasizing the impropriety of questioning God's actions. Number 5. The 2 beasts in Revelation. In the period known as the tribulation and future events, as described in the Bible, an ungodly leader will control a malevolent global system. This end-times ruler is likened to a dreadful beast in both the books of Revelation and Daniel. Revelation chapter 13 presents a vivid and alarming vision by John of a dragon and two beasts. The primary beast, emerging from the sea, derives its power from the dragon, symbolizing Satan. This creature is depicted with 10 horns and 7 heads, each bearing a blasphemous name and crowned, and it combines features of a leopard, bear, and lion, found in Revelation chapter 13 verse 1 to 2. Daniel's vision in Daniel chapter 7 verse 7 to 8 and 19 to 27 shares similarities with John's, making it beneficial to examine these two prophetic books together. In Revelation, the beast is used to denote two interconnected concepts. At times, it represents the empire of the end times, with the imagery of 7 heads and 10 horns suggesting a coalition of nations under satanic influence. In other instances, the beast refers to an individual, the political leader at the helm of this empire. This leader, or the beast, is prophesied to suffer a fatal injury, yet recover, in Revelation chapter 13 verse 3. He will achieve global dominion, demanding worship, as indicated in Revelation chapter 13 verse 7 to 8. And for a period, he will overcome the forces of God, found in Revelation chapter 13 verse 7. And Daniel chapter 7 verse 21. However, his reign will be limited to 42 months or 3.5 years, as indicated in Revelation chapter 13 verse 5 and Daniel chapter 7 verse 25. The beast in Revelation is believed to be the Antichrist, who will exalt himself as a deity, as stated in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4, also described as the man of lawlessness and the man doomed to destruction in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3. In Daniel's vision, the Antichrist is depicted as the little horn emerging from the terrifying beast in Daniel chapter 7 verse 8. Upon the return of the Lord for judgment, he will conquer the beast and annihilate his empire, found in Revelation chapter 19 verse 19 to 20. And Daniel chapter 7 verse 11, resulting in the beast being thrown into the lake of fire. The exact identity of the individual who will become the beast in Revelation remains unknown and, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 7, will only be revealed once the Holy Spirit's restraining influence is lifted from the earth. There's a striking contrast in the biblical portrayals of world kingdoms. In Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar envisions them as a magnificent, awe-inspiring statue, noted in Daniel chapter 2 verse 31, while Daniel himself sees them as horrifying beasts in Daniel chapter 7. John's vision in Revelation depicts the final worldly kingdom as a monstrous, deformed beast. These narratives offer two distinct perspectives: humanity's view of its empires as grand and artistically crafted, versus God's view of them as unnatural aberrations, with the beast of Revelation being the most dreadful. Number 6. Angel of Death. The term Angel of Death is familiar to many, but the concept of a death angel might raise questions about its distinctiveness and biblical basis, particularly in relation to the book of Revelation. In the book of Exodus, we encounter a divine figure involved in the plague that strikes down the firstborn in Egyptian households that lack the protective sign of lamb's blood on their doorposts. Hollywood's portrayal of this event may suggest the presence of an angel of death, but the scripture in Exodus chapter 12 refers to this entity as the Lord. The term angel of the Lord, often encountered in the Old Testament, is associated with the events in Exodus chapter 12. Notably, some translations of this passage attribute the actions directly to the Lord, rather than an angel. This has led to debates among scholars about the nature of the angel of the Lord. Is it a distinguished angel or a manifestation of Christ himself? In Exodus chapter 12, the text clearly attributes the striking down of the firstborn to the Lord, specifically using the term Jehovah. So how does the idea of a death angel arise? Scripture does provide instances where angels, following God's directive, cause deaths of individuals or groups, such as when an angel of the Lord kills 185,000 Assyrians in 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 35. The question then arises, is there a specific angel assigned the role of causing death? Furthermore, what becomes of such an angel when, according to Revelation chapter 20, God abolishes death? Bible scholars believe angel of death and death angel are misnomers. While angels are depicted as having the capacity to inflict death or destruction, their power to do so is always under God's command and not autonomous. They do not possess inherent, unbounded authority to wreak widespread devastation without divine instruction. This understanding positions these beings not as independent agents of death, but as executors of God's will within the bounds set by Him. Number 7. Daniel's beasts. In Daniel chapter 7, the prophet Daniel recounts a divinely inspired nocturnal vision concerning 4 great world empires, symbolized as distinct beasts, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 1 to 14. These empires correspond to the ones King Nebuchadnezzar dreamt about in Daniel chapter 2, where they were depicted as different metals in a statue. Daniel's vision confirms that these worldly empires, though temporarily powerful, are destined to be replaced by a kingdom belonging to the holy people of the Most High, which will endure eternally, as detailed in Daniel chapter 7, verse 18. Daniel is deeply troubled by the vision of the 4 beasts and seeks its meaning, which is eventually revealed to him by an angel, in Daniel chapter 7, verse 15 to 27. Even with this explanation, the disturbing nature of the vision causes Daniel great distress. The vision begins with a stormy sea, churned up by the 4 winds of heaven, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 2. Out of this chaotic sea emerge 4 distinct and formidable beasts, in Daniel chapter 7, verse 3. The first beast resembles a lion with eagle's wings, which are later removed, transforming it to stand upright with a human mind, symbolizing King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and his eventual understanding of God's sovereignty, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 4, and chapter 4, verse 34 to 35. The second beast, resembling a bear, is lopsided with 3 ribs in its mouth, indicating consumption. This beast symbolizes the Medo-Persian Empire, with the uneven stance reflecting the dominance of Persia over Media, and the ribs signifying conquered nations, Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 5. The third beast is likened to a leopard, with 4 bird-like wings and 4 heads, representing the Greek Empire, known for its swift conquests. The 4 heads foretell the division of the empire after Alexander the Great's death, as noted in Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. Daniel's final and most terrifying beast, exceedingly strong with iron teeth and 10 horns, represents the Roman Empire. This empire is known for its might and the complete destruction of its adversaries, as stated in Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. Daniel's focus then shifts to the 4th beast, especially its 10 horns, from which a small, boastful horn emerges, displacing 3 others. This little horn, with human eyes and a boastful mouth, continues its blasphemies until divine judgment is executed, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 8 and 9 to 11. The 4th beast's downfall contrasts with the fate of the other beasts, which lose authority but aren't immediately destroyed, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 12. Subsequently, a heavenly figure, a son of man, appears and is granted everlasting dominion, worshipped by all nations, found in Daniel chapter 7, verse 13 to 14. In seeking clarification, Daniel learns that the 10 horns symbolize 10 kings, and the boastful horn represents a future ruler, the Antichrist, who will oppress God's people for 3.5 years, in Daniel chapter 7, verse 19 and 24 to 25. This figure aligns with the ruler in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, and is believed to emerge from a revived Roman Empire, a coalition of 10 leaders eventually dominated by the Antichrist, found in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 to 17. Daniel chapter 7's little horn is paralleled by the first beast in Revelation chapter 13, which also bears 10 horns and embodies traits of all Daniel's beasts. It too will oppress God's people for a limited time, found in Revelation chapter 13 verse 5 to 7. However, the Antichrist's reign is finite, destined for divine judgment. As foretold, the Antichrist will be vanquished and thrown into the lake of fire, as detailed in Daniel chapter 7 verse 26 and Revelation chapter 19 verse 20. The Son of Man's eternal rule will then be established. Daniel's vision, when juxtaposed with King Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel chapter 2, reveals contrasting perceptions of the world's kingdoms. Nebuchadnezzar's vision of a majestic statue versus Daniel's vision of monstrous beasts. While earthly rulers see their empires as grand and valuable, God's prophets view them as aberrant and transitory. Daniel's vision served to warn Israel about successive world powers, urging them not to lose hope. Ultimately, God remains sovereign, with the promise of the Messiah's eternal kingdom prevailing over earthly dominions, found in Daniel chapter 2 verse 44 and chapter 7 verse 13 to 14. And Revelation chapter 11, verse 15. Number 8. Leviathan. The Leviathan, as depicted in the Bible, is a formidable aquatic creature known for its immense ferocity and strength. The name Leviathan is derived from a Hebrew word that means coiled or twisted. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1 refers to it as a swift and writhing serpent, a sea monster, highlighting its formidable nature. The Old Testament contains several references to the Leviathan, often portraying it as a real, known creature, though more by reputation than direct observation. Psalm chapter 104, verse 25 to 26 praises God for creating the Leviathan's vast oceanic habitat, indicating only a powerful deity could create such a being and provide a space large enough for it. In Isaiah chapter 27 verse 1, the Leviathan symbolizes oppressive kings who oppose God's people. The text suggests that although these forces are intimidating, God promises to overcome evil, regardless of its might. The Lord will punish with his sword. Leviathan the gliding serpent, he will slay the monster of the sea. Psalm chapter 74 verse 14 echoes this theme, likely alluding to the defeat of the Egyptian pharaoh. Job chapter 41 offers an in-depth description of the Leviathan as a sea creature, emphasizing its enormous size, strength, and aggressiveness. The text portrays it as untamable and terrifying, with impenetrable armor-like scales, fearsome teeth, and a trail of destruction both on land and in the sea. It's described as unbeatable by any weapon and revered as the king of all beasts, fearless and unparalleled on earth. Interpretations of what the Leviathan might be vary. Some suggest it could be a crocodile, while others propose a whale or shark. However, based on the biblical description, it's possible the Leviathan was a large sea reptile, perhaps a dinosaur-like creature such as a plesiosaurus, especially considering Job is one of the earliest books of the Bible. In Job chapter 41, God uses the Leviathan to illustrate his supreme power and control. Job's questioning of God is countered with the example of the Leviathan's might, underscoring Job's relative weakness and humanity's inability to comprehend or contend with the divine. The Leviathan, formidable and awe-inspiring, ultimately serves as a testament to God's sovereignty. The creature's existence and humanity's inability to control or defeat it underlines the message: who then is able to stand against me? Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me. in Job chapter 41 verse 10 to 11, reinforcing the concept of divine supremacy and ownership of all creation. Number 9. Melchizedek. Melchizedek, meaning King of Righteousness, was a prominent figure in the Bible, serving as the King of Salem, later known as Jerusalem, and a priest of the Most High God. His encounters are noted in several biblical passages, including Genesis chapter 14 verse 18 to 20, Psalm chapter 110 verse 4, and various parts of Hebrews, that is Hebrews chapter 5 verse 6 to 11, and chapter 6 verse 20 to chapter 7 verse 28. Melchizedek's brief but impactful appearance in Genesis is shrouded in mystery. He first interacted with Abraham following Abraham's victory over Chedorlaomer and his allies. Melchizedek brought out bread and wine, symbolizing friendship, and blessed Abraham in the name of El Elyon, meaning God Most High, acknowledging God's role in Abraham's triumph. Abraham's offering of a tithe to Melchizedek signified his recognition of Melchizedek's higher spiritual status. This event underpins the priest-king's importance and his unique position in biblical narratives. David in the Messianic Psalm, chapter 110, and the writer of Hebrews draw parallels between Melchizedek and Christ, portraying Melchizedek as a precursor to Jesus. This comparison emphasizes Christ's priesthood, surpassing the Levitical order and paralleling Melchizedek's unique role. In Hebrews, Melchizedek's priesthood is used to illustrate the superiority and eternal nature of Christ's priesthood. The nature of Melchizedek has sparked theories, including the idea that he was a Christophany, an early manifestation of Jesus Christ. This theory gains some support from the fact that Abraham encountered a divine visitation in Genesis chapter 17 to chapter 18. Hebrews chapter 6 verse 20 refers to Jesus as a high priest in the order of Melchizedek, suggesting a unique, eternal priesthood that transcends time and lineage. Hebrews chapter 7 verse 3 adds to the mystery by describing Melchizedek as without parents, genealogy, or end of life, likening him to the Son of God. This description raises the question of whether it should be taken literally or figuratively. If literal, it aligns closely with the attributes of Jesus Christ, who is eternal and without earthly lineage. If figurative, it highlights Melchizedek's enigmatic nature, underscoring the similarities with Christ and his priestly role. The debate over whether Melchizedek and Jesus are the same entity remains open to interpretation. At the very least, Melchizedek serves as a foreshadowing of Christ's ministry, potentially even representing an early appearance of Jesus himself, as suggested by his blessing of Abraham after a significant battle. This interpretation or understanding of Melchizedek enhances the depth and richness of biblical theology, reflecting on the timeless and mystical nature of God's revelations through history. Number 10. Seraphim. Seraphim, meaning fiery burning ones, are celestial beings featured in the prophet Isaiah's vision, which he experienced in the temple at the time of his calling to prophetic ministry, found in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1 to 7. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 2 to 4 describes these seraphs as having 6 wings, 2 covering their faces, 2 covering their feet, and with the remaining 2, they flew. These beings were engaged in a continuous proclamation of God's holiness, their voices powerful enough to shake the temple's foundations, filling it with smoke. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of His glory. The only specific biblical reference to the seraphim is in Isaiah chapter 6. These angels are depicted as surrounding God's throne, using their wings for different purposes: flight, reverence, and modesty. The seraphim are not just participants in celestial worship, they also play a role in Isaiah's commissioning as a prophet. One seraph, for instance, purifies Isaiah by touching his lips with a hot coal, symbolically removing his guilt and atoning for his sins, found in Isaiah chapter 6 verse 7. The Seraphim, like other holy angels, show complete obedience to God. In their focus on worship, they share similarities with another group of angelic beings, the Cherubim, underscoring their dedication to glorifying and serving God.